Welcome back to Everyman Prepping, and happy Friday to everybody, except maybe Janet Yellen and the administration, because they're not having a too good of Friday since their bond and their sovereign debt, the US debt, was just downgraded. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go into Xi coming to the United States and how Biden's going to meet with him. Get into, of course, what's going on with Israel and the Middle East and the Gaza war, and a few other stories. So let's go ahead and dig in right away. Thanks for everybody that caught my video 2 days ago on fire starting techniques. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a card up over here so you can check it out. But let's get into this right away here. As we do, please, of course, as always, thank you so much for everybody that's liking the video, sharing, commenting down below, and subscribing to the channel. But Moody's, and Moody's is a credit rating organization. They rate the credit of businesses and countries. Can you trust a country with paying on their debts, that kind of thing. And so what they did, they just rated the U.S., they have a AAA outlook. It goes AAA, AA, A, B, all that. So AAA is the best, but they just turned it to a negative outlook. Of course, as it says here, Janet Yellen and Biden, of course, they came out right away and said, well, we disagree with that. Well, it doesn't matter if you disagree with it. That's what they're giving you. And I think everybody else in the world probably knows that, the U.S. debt, so much trouble, it's piling on so much, it probably should be negative or even not AAA anymore. But that'll probably come soon enough. Of course, this news, of course, comes out late on a Friday, where it won't affect the markets. It gives people a couple days over the weekend to kind of forget about it because people can't really think more than 24 hours at a time, hoping that on Monday the bond markets won't crash. But we shall see. We'll see what happens Monday. Anyway, this says, after disastrous 30-year bond auction last week, Moody's has just cut its outlook on U.S. credit ratings to negative from stable. Now, what they're talking about, the 30-year bond auction last week, it had the largest tail ever that's been recorded. And a tail is the difference between the price offered by the Treasury and the price that people actually bought it. And when people don't want to buy it, the auctioneer for the bonds has to raise the yield. And so the difference between those two is called the tail. This was the largest one because nobody wants to buy U.S. debt. As we know, Japan, China, a lot of other countries are dumping U.S. debt. So it was a horrible bond auction, got us a negative rating. This is just credit default swaps. We're not going to pay attention to that graph. We're going to come down here to where it says, the outlook change to negative is Moody's assessment that quote, this is a quote from them, the downside risk to the U.S. fiscal strength has been increased and may no longer be fully offset by the sovereign's unique credit strengths. So what does that mean? Well, at least what it means to me is the risk to our financial strength, the risk that we have so much debt that we only almost have $1 trillion now, I believe, in yearly interest payments. That is no longer being offset by our sovereign credit strength. What is our credit strength? Well, the fact that the U.S. dollar was the global reserve money, the fact that everybody used dollars, they traded in dollars, the petrodollar. The fact that that doesn't have the same strength that it used to have, well, that puts us at risk. And to show some of that, that unique, sovereign unique strength is, if you remember, just, was it yesterday, the U.S. is touting that, we got Israel to do a 4-hour pause in Gaza every day for humanitarian pause to let people go from north to south. U.S. Kirby is out saying we did it, we got it done. Israel was already doing that. They already had pauses every day, and the U.S. is trying to get credit for it because they tried to get Hamas. They tried to get Israel to do 2 or 3 day ceasefires, and Israel basically said, "Nah, we're not doing that." That would never happen before. That shows the weakness in the United States. So part of this negative rating. So that's not good. When you see on money, if the yield's already spiked up. Let's go down to this chart here. This is good to see. It says the market late on Friday pushed the yield of the 2- and 5-year Treasury notes to fresh new highs on the day because of this news. Because when you get a negative rating, that means people don't want your bonds. To get people to buy your bonds, you got to raise the yield, which means they're worth less. So they're raising the yields. They spiked to the highest ever. Not good. Probably going to get a lot worse. And when that happens, as they get more and more people can't buy them, we can't sell our bonds. No one wants them. Other countries are dumping them. The Fed's going to have to step in, turn all that money prepper, buying themselves, and then, hello, hyperinflation. So we got that to deal with. Now, what else do we have here? We have Xi and Biden will meet in San Francisco next week to prioritize restored military communications and other things. Now, this isn't, a summit plan. What it was is there's an APEC summit going on. It's, what does that for? Asian Pacific Economic Conference, I believe, is what it stands for. Yeah, Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit. And it was going on anyway. It's already scheduled. And these are the different days, Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to go down to Wednesday. Wednesday is when China was going to be there already with Xi. There's other people, other nations are going to be there. We have Thailand, Vietnam, Chile, Philippines, Peru, a bunch of people at this meeting already scheduled. Biden's been trying to get a meeting with Xi. He's been trying to meet with him, but he wouldn't come over. And he's not going to the White House, but he's going to be in San Francisco anyway. So Biden actually is going to see Xi in San Francisco. That's how I see it. I see it as a show of no respect for the United States, no respect for Biden. Xi's not going to the Washington D.C. to talk about the summit. Basically, Biden's coming to where Xi was at, San Francisco. So you got that playing out. I'm sure the administration is going to play it up like, oh, we invited him, to come here. He came, and I'm going to meet him in San Francisco. Well, usually when world leaders meet, you meet in the capital, usually, of that country that you're going to. But no, they're meeting in San Francisco, which is one of the worst places in California right now, the dredge of California. But that's where they're going. We don't want to get into that right now. California's a lost place, but they're going to meet there, and of course, Biden had to go see him. So they're going to talk about it and go through all they're going to talk about. Probably nothing's going to happen. Xi's probably going to laugh at him if they even can have a conversation. Who knows? But one thing is for sure is usually before you go to war, countries meet and talk to each other. So keep that in mind. Let's go on to the Middle East now. We got Israeli tanks. Basically what Israel's trying to do, they're trying to get to the hospital that was bombed, the Al-Shifa, I think it's right here, Al-Shifa Hospital, that they said, Israel bombed. They said, no, it was the Hamas that did it. But they're telling that there's Hamas tunnels under it. That's one of the Hamas headquarters is under the hospital. So they're trying desperately to get there to prove, I think, to the world that Hamas is using the hospital as a military outpost. So there's heavy fighting going on. That's what's been going on for the last day or so. That's what's going on tonight. It says here, reports are already coming out that Wednesday and Thursday that Israeli tanks have pushed to the center of Gaza City. They're trying to surround the Al-Shifa Hospital. You can see some of you see this picture here, some of the bombing and attacks going on. It says, using tanks and armored vehicles, they have closed a roughly 100-meter perimeter around the hospitals, still sheltering thousands of wounded and displaced people, of course. And then here we have Al-Shifa Hospital. The courtyard was bombed in this one. I can't play it because YouTube doesn't like when you play videos of people screaming, basically. And this was another giant, maybe we could play this one. This one's just, you can see a giant, let's see if I can get to play here. Let me blow it up. There you go. It was a giant, you can see ambulances out here. So yeah, the bombing's getting very close or near that hospital, but they're claiming, and of course it dies. Why not? They're getting very close to the hospital, and they're attacking very close. So for Israel's sake and for their own standing in this world, and they got enough people going against them, there better be some Hamas tunnels in that hospital when they get there. We shall see. Mario put this out here that Hamas is in the final stand next to the Al-Shifa Hospital, and what we can do is we can blow this up here. We'll play this for you as well. So you can see the hospital areas. You can see the smoke and the fire around it, and according to this, what they're saying, they're trying to make their last stand here. Israel hasn't made it there yet, but a lot of fighting going on in that area. So that'll be the next thing, is if they can take this hospital and show that yes, Hamas is there, and that's why we're doing all the attacking there. Might help them out in the eyes of the world. I don't know. We shall see. But then they did something else that was not very smart. So Iran warns of inevitable expansion of the war after the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, conducts a flag-raising ceremony in Gaza. Now, when you're an army and you raise a flag somewhere, that means you're conquering it. You're taking it over. Israel said they didn't want to take over Gaza. They just want to defeat Hamas, make a security zone, maybe police it for a while, then turn it back over to the Palestinians. Well, when you're raising flags, you're given notice, basically, you're conquering that territory. So this might not have been the smartest move. It says here, Israeli flags wave proudly along the shores of Gaza, and the Jews are returning to their land, this is our lands to their lands, to this guy. Here's a picture you can see right here. You got the Israeli flag on the beach, soldiers saluting. As a side note, if you've looked at some of the pictures, there's incredible beaches in Gaza. I mean, it could have been a nice, beautiful resort area. You got the clean waters, it looks like, beach, tourists. I mean, it could have been a beautiful part of the world if you think about it. But that's a side note. And then we have, here again, another picture. And then what this says is, from an Israeli military official, quote, "We returned. We were expelled from here almost 20 years ago. We started this battle divided and ended it united. We are fighting for the land of Israel. This is our land, and that is the victory to return to our lands." Probably not going to go over well with Israel. With Iran and other Muslim countries for that matter. So this, I think, was a big mistake. As you can see, people in Yemen are riled up. This is a giant protest in Yemen. We have, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands or thousands of people are out there marching in support of Palestine and Gaza and Hamas and all that. And, Yemen doesn't care. They're firing missiles. They're shooting U.S. drones out of the sky, which the U.S. hasn't done anything about yet. They haven't gone into Yemen to have any retribution for that we know of at least. But Yemen, full-on support. Don't give a damn. They're going full on and, planting flags on the beach of Gaza is probably just going to rile these people up more and spread that war even further. So that's all I have on the war update. What's going on over there? Not too much there. I want to go into this here. So this is in Maui. So we got a pink, purple pond over here in Maui. And I just put it there because I found it very unique, very interesting. They said, they're trying to figure out what it is. It's natural algae. I just think it's a representation of the world might be a little sick. Planet might be a little sick right now. I don't know. I found it, first off, pretty beautiful and interesting. Second of all, pretty, I wouldn't say scary, but concerning. What the heck is going on? So found that interesting. Thought I'd share that with you guys really quick. And then I'm not sure how you've heard about, but right now Iceland is rocking. Tons of earthquakes. Parts of Iceland's being evacuated. They think a volcano is going to explode. We need to keep our eye on this. But this is just the current earthquakes in the last few hours. It's really rocking and rolling going over there, so let's keep our eye on that. If that thing goes off, is it a world killer or anything like that? No, but due to the amount of smoke and debris and ash that might be put in the atmosphere, might affect the weather, might cool it down, might make for a harsher winter, which we know is bad for Europe because natural gas, all that stuff. So we'll keep our eye on this, more of the natural stuff for you. And that's all I have on this video. If you have any comments below on any of these stories or anything you've been paying attention to, what you're doing this weekend, anything else that's concerning you, put it in the comments below. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.